This podcast is supported by The Real Real.
You know what I love most about the holidays? Giving gifts. But not just any gifts. Real gifts. Thoughtful gifts. Oh my God, how did you know gifts? That's why I love gift shopping with The Real Real. The Real Real is the most trusted name in authenticated luxury resale. And it's a holiday shopping secret I'm going to let you in on. Whether it's a surprisingly affordable, pristine condition bag for your BFF, a vintage find that's cool enough for the Gen Zer in your life, or even something your impossible to shop for dad will love. Get used to saying I found it on The Real Real. Seriously, with over 10,000 new arrivals dropping every day from brands like Gucci, Fendi, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Tiffany & Co., and Cartier, there's guaranteed to be something for everyone on your list. Oh, and did I mention everything's up to 90% off retail?
Get $25 off your first purchase at therealreal.com. That's therealreal.com to get your $25 off. Therealreal.com.
At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Dying Time is here. That's right. We're talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer. Last summer, in 2025, I know. It's not great. I'm Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, coming to you once again from Southport, North Carolina, home of the Ms. Croker contest. No word yet if they've extended that to married women, because I'd love to know who Mrs. Croker is. This is the Kill by Kill podcast, where we're dedicated to celebrating the least discussed component of any horror film, the characters. We're going to unpack all the goriest of details of 2025's rebootiquel version of I Know What You Did Last Summer, in the hopes that one of these fucks' untimely end is just the beginning of the jokes we might make at their expense. And as always, there's only one person I trust to turn a former murder scene into a lovely brunch spot. The one, the only, Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
I love that you completely gave away how you feel about this movie right in the introduction.
Spoiler alert, this fucking sucks.
I don't think you've ever revealed in your introduction. By the way, this is a giant piece of shit.
This sucks.
Hold on to your butts.
I am not happy about it. This is not something I feel I was not going to schedule this. I literally was not. But I kept hearing people talk about it and talk about it in such a way that it gave the impression there might be hidden depths there. And make no mistake, folks, I'm aware of my own biases. Earlier in the year, when trailers for, Final Destination Bloodline came out, and I said on air, that fucking looks terrible. And I was wrong, okay? But here, oh shit, baby, I am right.
Yeah, no, I as soon as I heard they were doing this, I was like,
and it's not like I Know What You Did Last Summer is some sort of fucking sacred ground for us, because I know there are many people in this audience who really adore that movie, and they should. There's nothing inherently wrong with it for them, and our quibbles with it don't really ever they don't disconnect their genuine emotional reaction to a piece of artwork. But I really never in a million years thought that a franchise would go from what is ideally a beloved in many corners original film completely fuck up the sequel, which we haven't even talked about. It's that fucking useless. And then fuck up a direct-to-video sequel. And then fuck up a Amazon Prime series. And at the end of that, someone said, you know what movie has got juice? I know what you did last summer. But after Scream successfully came back, it was truly only a matter of time before they resurrected the more initially financially successful yet culturally passed over 90s teen slasher, and everyone decided, no, we love that actually, and that's fine. That's fine. We're not going to re-prosecute this case. But they don't even mistakenly cause the death when they're teens, Gina.
No, I'm not even sure they're teens.
They're not. One of them has a job in politics. They have been separated for a while. At the beginning, when the initial incident happens, they are well out of high school. These are people returning from fucking college.
They're reuniting first because two of them are getting engaged.
Right.
And you know how I know they're getting engaged? And you know how I know they're part of the group? Because one character turns to another and says, can you believe our best friends are engaged? Because half of this movie is the most incompetent expository dialogue I have ever heard in my entire life.
I just have to believe that a lot of this really does come down to some form of studio fuckery. And it's probably not good for my career to say out loud, but it just smells like it. I don't think anyone pitched the final version of this movie to a studio head and they're like, yeah, gotta make that. It just feels like death by a thousand cuts, where even the original has the audacity to make these people culpable in a genuine crime, and then the cover up of that crime commit further crimes to which they are legitimately guilty of, and they are troubled by, and they can't get over. And so when a year passes and they are given a note that someone knows this evil thing that happened in their past, they're genuinely disturbed by it. And in here, there's some light choking.
Right, because another thing this movie doesn't know how to do is treat a fetish.
Yes, I really did not anticipate kink-shaming coming into the conversation of I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot.
That's my favorite scene, because a man in his 20s and presumably has been sexually active at some point, is so nonplussed by a very attractive woman who he has slept with before.
Previous to this.
And you asking him to get a little rough with her. He's so nonplussed by this that he has to go outside and sit in his car for a little while.
He has to sit alone in a car.
And think about it.
And think and rev himself up for the idea of having sex with a very attractive woman. And that she has requested some kink play. And he's like, I don't know. And listen, he shouldn't be forced into it or everything. But I also don't think you need 10 minutes by yourself in a domestic car before you lightly choke somebody during sex.
I mean,
who's requested it.
You can also say, I'm not really into that. Yeah, instead of having this soul searching in your car.
But he can't be isolated that way to be killed. But also,
but that's another thing. Even though you're being tracked down by a killer, I'm going to go sit outside and think about what you mean by choke me.
The previous scene to this is another character saying, no one sleeps alone. And he's like, well, I'm not sleeping. I'm just going to wander out to my car. And at least the first movie has these elements where these kills are being done, but then these people disappear. So our main core four look crazier and crazier when they complain to the police that someone's after them and they have no evidence of it. Yes, it's insane that a body is hidden in a trunk full of crabs and then all the crabs and the body disappear in the course of 5 minutes. I'm not coming to this movie for reality, but that is more realistic than nearly anything that happens in this newer version.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that this movie has the balls to even reference I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and then, spoiler alert, at the end, bring a character back, and she's like, hey, you're my best friend. She shouldn't be. She should not be your best friend. You should not be ride or die for this person who nearly got you killed with her bad-tasted boyfriends. I did not want to dislike this movie. I like this filmmaker's previous film. Did you ever see 2022's light Heathers-esque pastiche, Do Revenge?
I did not.
Okay. It's not essential, but I also don't believe it is maliciously this bad by any stretch of the imagination. It also features lots of talented actors doing their absolute best and often finding ways to succeed. Is it the most original movie? No, it is not. Is it the most funny movie? No, it is not. But it is genuinely trying, and the effort pays off to a certain degree. It is not essential viewing, but at the end of it, I didn't go, well, I regretted giving that an hour and 10 minutes or 100 minutes, whatever the fuck it was. But this was white knuckling all hour and 45 minutes.
An hour and 45 minutes. And the pace of this movie is glacial.
Just unfucking believable. The first note I wrote was because it starts like the original, like the sequel, like the direct-to-video sequel on the Atlantic Ocean, and then spends much of the rest movie avoiding any sort of vista, almost as if a lawyer has approached them and said, if you would like to photograph the Atlantic Ocean, that's going to cost you money. And a producer in the background is like, we got to just get inside. Everything needs to be inside for the rest of this film. It feels like they're isolating during COVID, and it's filmed well after the fact.
Yeah, it does have a lot. It does have that kind of feeling. A lot of it is indoors.
Now, you can say a lot about that first movie that you like or don't like, but one of the things I will shout from the rooftops is it looks like $1 million fucking bucks. And I can't say that this film looks bad. It simply looks like it was filmed in an enclosed structure. Even outdoor locations feel like green screen was involved. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it was a choice they made, what it was due to, but it really cuts down on the whole production value of murders happening in paradise when you refuse to show paradise.
Right.
I also think part of the charm of that first one is there's a haves and haves not portion of town. And now that have not thing, they've just been jettisoned almost entirely, with the exception of the fucking villain, Gina.
Which is...
Oh my God.
Boy.
Oh. I don't want to vent my spleen at this movie in so many ways, because I do feel like there's a lot of people trying to do shit here, but the effort just seems to have been just like baby Thanos, choked out in the crib, according to War Machine. I don't get it. I don't get a lot of these decisions. They feel forced upon. They feel weird. Like when the movie starts, we both commented on this to each other in text. The movie has 3 needle drops in the first 5 minutes. And I'm like, it's not like I don't like these songs. I have recommended those songs to people to use in various projects. So I'm happy those artists are being paid. But one song will do you. One song is a transition.
Yeah, there's always some sort of music playing in the background, and like it's to the point where it's a little distracting.
It's like Polydor Records is what is sponsoring the movie. Like,
right? It's like, it's like you walked out of the theater, you expect someone to hand you a CD.
Right. It's like Screen Gems and Universal Music Group present I Know What You Did Last Summer 2025, and I'm not against needle drops. I'm not. But you don't need 3 in the first 5 minutes, and you certainly don't need as many as it eventually gets to. And while the first film has an interesting soundtrack, it's pretty much the one song that gets on MTV Live in the countdown. And then the rest of the songs you don't really remember or anything like that. They're not selling a fucking soundtrack.
No, I mean, the thing, of course, the most glaring problem here. Can I get to it, or do you want to get to it?
There are no fucking rules with this. I took a whole shit ton of notes along the course of the movie, but spoiler alert, it doesn't fucking matter.
No,
it's not
because this murder mystery, it hinges on an accident.
Yeah.
That everybody keeps treating like a murder that they have covered up.
Yes.
And it is an accident.
It is a straight up accident.
This thing that happens that gets someone killed is an accident.
And also an accident that is preceded not just by their issues, right? It's not just that that Teddy is standing in the middle of the street. It is that the person who eventually veers to miss him in the middle of the street is going at least 65 miles per hour.
He's driving like he just robbed a bank.
And he's coming at this so fucking fast that he busts almost all the way through the guardrail on a road that people are saying previous to this is notorious for getting people killed. Now, why that's okay to talk about and the murders that happened in 1997 aren't, are so fucking insane to me. I don't know how to approach it as a concept. Nevertheless, the way the movie delivers it to people.
They're like, well, we can't tell anybody. Well, why can't you tell anybody?
Why can't you tell anyone?
If you don't want to, you tell anybody what you're willing. You don't have to.
Right.
There's no fucking skid marks. He just drives right into the guardrail.
He drives right into the fucking guardrail because he's going too goddamn fast. And I might add, it's not like they're all drunk and stoned. The driver of the vehicle that brought them to that point is driven by a sober driver who out loud says, I'm not going to drink and I am not going to smoke weed because I am driving this car, which is a noble stance. But again, removes any of the guilt for any of the deeds that happen for the rest of the movie, which seems like a studio note. Like, these people cannot appear to be guilty of anything. They must at all costs remain innocent. And that's kind of violating the whole I know what you did last summer thing. It just doesn't.
Well, here's two things that I have a problem with. One is, and I'm going to spoil this, so if you've not seen it yet, turn it off. Turn this off. I mean, if you must watch it, I don't recommend it.
If you wish to remain spoiler free, we've already fucked that up. But
I am going to spoil it for you and say that there are actually 2 killers.
Yes.
One of them is revealed to be one member of this group who witnesses this accident. The driver of the car is her secret boyfriend.
He's my secret boyfriend.
Who she goes along with covering up this accident, and then a year later decides, well, got to kill everybody.
Time to stab. And then her co-conspirator in this, spoilers again, is a person who everyone accused of stabbing people in the first 2 movies. And then it turns out he is capable of stabbing people. And when he has that fucking rain slicker on, he is fucking Jason Voorhees. He cannot be stopped. He is waylaid by iron doors and by very muscly men. And he just fucking brushes it off. He never has a scratch on him. It is so insane how much this movie wants to be Scream, and yet it is condemned to be I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it is just fighting. It's just like, please, just let us be Scream. If we could just be Scream. And you're like, why? You could just be a good version of I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's right there. All the elements are right there. I don't really care that they're not teens, but they should have futures that are on the line on the basis of their actions. And they're not, because the actions are, it's a fucking accident all the way across.
Yeah, they're immediate says, well, this is going to ruin our lives. How's it going to ruin your life?
Whenever I need to send roses that are guaranteed to make someone's day, the only place I trust is 1-800-Flowers.com. With 1-800-Flowers, my friends and family always receive stunning, high-quality bouquets that they absolutely love. Right now, when you buy a dozen multicolored roses, 1-800-Flowers will double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. To claim this special double roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
And then you get into some of these characters, right? And I was like, I'm like, I have to, this is a character podcast. We have to dig into these characters.
That's the
Who
thing.
are they?
Well, that's the thing. Like, so I read a couple reviews of this, and some of the reviews I read mentioned that they think that the making this more clearly an accident than, negligence or the result of driving drunk is part of a thing now that we often see, particularly on TikTok, of depiction equals endorsement. Where if you have your protagonist doing a bad thing, i.e. covering up a murder, or covering up, the death that they inadvertently caused, that you must think that is a good thing. Right. This is one of the more maddening things I come across on the internet because, social media and specifically, because I'm not entirely sure when people are being sincere about it or not. But at the same time, those who are sincere about it show such a breathtaking lack of recognizing, what is fiction and what is reality, and lack the understanding that sometimes people do bad things. And does not mean that the filmmaker thinks that murder is good, or that rape is good, or that the mafia is good, or anything like that. So, if that's what's happening here, that we can't, they don't want to go so far as to show these people committing even an accidental murder. And yet at the same time, they dig in so fucking hard on the most insufferable Gen X cliches that you're like, well, we're going to make sure you fucking hate these characters. And it's like, why am I supposed to hate them? They didn't do anything.
You probably should not have hired either anonymous actors, like the guy who plays Milo. I'm not sure I could identify this man or character in a lineup. And at this point I had written this note. I had been watching him for nearly 2 hours. I don't know who this person was. I may never know. They may be the best actor in the world. They might be the worst, but they are so fucking anonymous. And yet Teddy is played by a guy who we're going to cover in the next movie that we cover him. And I think he's genuinely fun and funny in this role.
And he's supposed to be, the rich jock asshole.
Right.
And he's fine.
He's fine. He's there's nothing really terrible about him.
To go back to the original movie, you had Ryan Phillippe, who is just he's absolutely loathsome.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be.
Yes, that is his role in this. Is he's supposed to be kind of loathsome. And that is understandable for the role he's playing. And we've kind of confronted this over the years. I've read Women in Chainsaws and the whole fucking deal, right? We've covered so many of these movies where the sin has to equal death according to Randy's fucking rules, right? But in so many of these movies, people aren't actually paying for their sins. Friday the 13th, no one is paying for their sin. They're paying for a sin that happened for some of them before they were born. Far off, once upon a time, a couple of counselors decided to have sex instead of watching this kid who is definitely special needs and should probably be watched out full time, but it was the fucking 60s. So he wasn't, and he drowns in the middle of the goddamn night, according to the text of the movie, folks. And therefore, down the road, these other camp counselors at the same camp have to pay for that sin. It's not their sin. It's the previous sin. In A Nightmare on Elm Street, the Elm Street kids are not paying for their sin. They're paying for the sin that their parents did of killing this child murderer in cold blood by burning him to death in a boiler room. Okay. In Scream, a lot of people die because two guys can't figure out what to do with their penises. These other people are not committing genuine sins. It is because these other two confused assholes are so discombobulated about how their penises work that they figure, I'll just put a knife in there instead. And so you have an entire thing that is built on the sin of Sydney's mother initially just wanting to get some. And Jesus Christ, she deserves it. She deserved to get some, people. She obviously wasn't getting it at home. So it might not have been great. It might not have been the best thing, but it doesn't really equal that many people dying as an end result. But also, she was raped by a studio head in a movie by a studio head that raped people. And this movie, and Scream 3, comes right out and points a finger at him, and he released that movie. So what were we talking about again? Oh yeah. Scream for some fucking reason. But it comes down to people are killed for their sins, right? Well, the only movie where that really works out, well, that's not true. A movie where that idea is really worked out is the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, because all of them are guilty on some level of either being part of that quote unquote accident of someone wandering out and being pushed out in front of their car, but definitely guilty of hiding that hit and run accident. And therefore, when that person does not die people say the plot of that is simple, but it really gets me every single time. I don't know how it fucking works. It's my blind spot, people. But at least that movie recognizes that while these four don't deserve to die, there's a reason somebody wants to kill them. And that just doesn't rise to the level here because they're so adamant about making them innocent.
Yeah, but also at the same time, making them, trying to make them irritating. Yeah. But, you've got this sort of, rich nincompoop who, is meditating while her boyfriend's being horrifically murdered.
She does have noise canceling headphones on, Gina. Well, so again, innocent.
She is innocent in this, but still, you've got this, horrific, because you got to have a true crime podcaster. And you know what? Yeah. I fucking had it with the true crime podcasters popping up in these movies. I really, really have. You can keep them. I mean, I realize that I myself am a podcaster, but I don't want to show up in a movie. Right. I don't want anybody playing me in a movie. And because they're always, obnoxious, they're always killed off.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I get it. Even though, this is a whole, thing and one can no longer exist without the other at this point. This is very funny that, these nerds show up and be weird and all, but also the podcaster's role inadvertently is to emphasize that the movie is constantly contradicting itself.
Yeah.
And that is in the motivation behind the other villain's reason for killing everybody. Mm-hmm. But let's get back for a second to okay, it's a character named Stevie. And for the big reveal that she's one of the killers, they don't really do much with her as a character.
No.
But she is there when this accident takes place.
Right, but she doesn't know who's in the truck. And that is the one defining thing that turns her from recovering alcoholic to cold-blooded murderer over the course of 1 year.
Right, but she also, once she did find out, I'm not entirely sure why she just simply didn't call the cops and turn them in.
Yeah.
Not that anything would have happened to any of them because it was an accident.
Right. But that gets back to her probably stating this out loud and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character's Ray hearing this and going, what we should do, though, is start stabbing.
Let's kill them all.
I'm sick of being accused of murders I don't commit. It's time to commit some murders and be accused of being innocent.
And also, I don't want people to forget about these murders that took place back in 1997, that for some reason, the mayor and the chief of police and the richest man in town are in cahoots over keeping hidden, but apparently they do such a shitty job of hiding it that a true crime podcaster shows up in town to do a show about it, even though she's already wearing a t-shirt with Sarah Michelle Gellar's character on it.
A memorial t-shirt for Sarah Michelle Gellar's
that she is selling on her Etsy store, because again, Gen X with their Etsys and their bisexuality.
Right.
And
when this person would definitely be working with Dasher, where we all know that is the place that you work with, the TeePublic spinoff. They give you the t-shirts that you need, and that way you don't have to have a warehouse full of them and you're mailing them all the time.
It's giving and this is very regressive, and it's just like every fucking Gen X bingo card is filled out. But to get back to this truth, why is she selling a t-shirt if supposedly this case has been buried?
Right. Well, again, we're told it's buried. At the same time, we're visually shown contemporaneous newspaper coverage of those murders. I just don't think you can bury something that they published in the fucking newspaper.
We also have, again, the true crime podcaster showing up this town, the police, the chief of police, who at some point is so determined to hide these murders that he locks 2 adult women in the police station.
Right.
And they just sit there. They don't demand to see a lawyer. Nothing. They're just like, well, guess we'll wait to see how this goes.
Yes.
And they don't go until finally one cop says, oh, well, you can go now. But I guess the idea is much like, the mayor in Jaws, that, if we tell people that a murder happened here 30 years ago, they won't come. But yet we also have a true crime podcaster.
Yes.
So, I mean, what are you, again, you are contradicting yourself.
Right. It can't be both things. You can't erase it from the internet and have the personification of the internet show up to town in a memorial t-shirt.
And you also can't act like you don't know that there is tourism for crime.
Right. Why? Like, I'm sure much of Eagle Rock does not want to remember the Hillside Strangler case. And yet, Eagle Rock exists as a place where many, many families happen to live without constant murders. So
I am sure that in Los Angeles, just like New York City, you can find a tour that will drive you around a little bus or a walking tour and tell you, hey, this famous person died here.
Yeah.
Like, because people have, I'm going to admit, I have a morbid interest in stuff like that.
Sure.
If I went somewhere and they said, hey, do you want to go on this death tour? I'd be like, hell yeah, I do.
I went on one when I was in Savannah. There's a lot of death in that town.
Yeah, you probably
were walking over graves the entire time we were there.
I mean, that's what that entire movie is based on. Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. There's a whole thing about
yes.
Tour going on ghost tours and things like that.
It was the third house we went to on the ghost tour.
Why are you acting like, God, oh no, if people found out that, people got murdered here 30 fucking years ago, no one's going to want to come and visit. Yeah, fine. I get no one's going to want to come to visit right now when there's murders happening.
Right. But
this, having a cover it up thing has already been in place for years, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
It just, as a motivation, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I just don't think they were given enough time to cook, because you could come up with a better scenario. And I'm not going to review what those better scenarios are, but I do feel like a lot of it comes down to the core sin of not letting these fuckers be guilty of something. And that just violates the whole point of the I Know What You Did Last Summer aesthetic from novel forward. You just have to be guilty of something and you end up paying for it. And some people die and some people live. And these are capable enough actors for the most part, they can get away with it. Like Chase Wonders. She's a good actress. Madeline Klein, I think, is fucking entertaining in this movie. I know that she kind of has ESPN and she can sense when it's going to rain because she can feel it in her boobs. I know it's a riff, but the riff fucking comes off like I liked it.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, in spite of the way they were written, I like these characters because the actors are likable people.
Yes. I
think that they very much wanted to not like them and to be happy when they get killed. Although, again, those two particular characters don't end up getting killed because for whatever reason, this is because
they have to have two survivors because they are really lockstep with certain rules of I Know What You Did Last Summer and jettison the others.
Right. And so, but they tend to kill off, they killed a lot more male characters, which, I don't know if that's supposed to mean anything or not, so
they just killed off a lot of more characters is the other thing is that at a certain point I wrote down, are they going to kill off any of the people who are actually connected to this original sin crime?
Yeah, I'm still not entirely sure where this pastor comes into it.
He is the red herringest of red herrings, but I guess to a certain degree, and the first film has that as well, and the second film has a ton of them. But it really does feel it's pointing so hard at this guy a little over an hour into it. And I'm like, there's no fucking way he's involved because they keep making him the creepiest man alive. And there's too much time left in this motion picture. And he still dies for fucking reasons. I don't know. Why is he killed off?
Yeah, they just sort of, instead of like laser focusing on this core group of friends, they just start just killing randos after a while.
They just kill randos nonstop, just like to fill it up with dead bodies. And I know the first movie kind of has a lull of dead people, but the first act kind of helps you past that. And this one, it doesn't because it's so rushed and it just makes you confused as to why they're just not going to the police. And this dude is not going to suffer any consequences for a guy driving 65 miles an hour around Dead Man's Curve. It's pretty much Dead Man's Curve. And he's going so fucking fast around it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dead Man's Curve. So, I can't remember the duo that sang Dead Man's Curve. I just know that I saw them. Jan and Dean at the Rose Bowl during one of my family's Let's Go to the Rose Bowl to watch fireworks for 4th of July. Again, the worst crimes occurred during 4th of July. The holiday we're all afraid of, Gina.
Of course.
Another thing, this movie is like, it's got to be 4th of July. And you're kind of like, how long does 4th of July last in this town? It seems to go on 4 days.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess because they're not that you would know it, but they're a seaside town.
Yes. It tries to hide how seaside of a town it is for the vast majority of its runtime. Oh my God! And so this whole thing happens during that first initial sort of first act of the movie, and then we're brought back and. One of the characters, Danica, is now having a second, wedding shower. But this time, I guess the first one's an engagement party. This is the wedding shower. But she's getting married to a completely different dude who I think, Tyler, is perhaps one of the best functioning alcoholics we've ever incurred on the show. Like Dr. Dan wishes he could hide it as well as Tyler is.
Yeah, I mean, they mentioned that he's, that he might be an alcoholic. It comes to nothing.
Hold on one second. The dog is barking for some reason. I'm going to bring him in. Stand by. He could hear my voice, because I'm yelling. Makes sense.
Trying to make sure there's nothing alarming going on. Why is father loud?
Why is father disturbed? Why must Alpha say these things about the 2025 rebootiquel? I know what you did last time. It drove me fucking to it. The other thing is the movie uses the term man cabana, which I think should probably be illegal post Barbie. No one should have a man cabana. The movie looks like they had to pay to film the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep.
It's practically the Visitor level of we can't say Satan and it has to be Satine. And then the other thing that drove me fucking insane was that the sound effects for the fisherman's footsteps make it sound like he is the goddamn Hulk. Everywhere he goes, thoo, thoo, thoo. And half the time it is this tiny pale lady inside of that getup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like and again, I think they're trying, as you say, you astutely compared it to Scream. Like they're trying to mess with you, because it's hard to tell just, from one scene to the next, which one is which, but she's like a head shorter.
Yes, it's really,
come on, man.
Yeah. I just, the motivations here, what is driving the action, I just don't get along with. It is, I apologize for even attempting to malign the original when compared to the litany of misdeeds that happen in this one. And I feel like there are more capable actors on display. I would even go so far as to say, Gina, oh my God, I can't believe this is coming out of my mouth. Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. are such better actors in this film than they are in the original. And yet they are completely undone by what their characters are forced to do.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. has been accused in 2 movies of stabbing people. I Can't Be With You. You're probably a stabber. And he's innocent both times. And then not more than 30 years later, he's like, you know what I should have done in my youth? Stabbed more. Okay. Okay.
I should have lived down to everything people said about me. I guess I could see with like that, like, oh, people thought I was a slut, but I really wasn't. Now I sort of wish I had been, but people said I was a killer. Maybe I should have just killed.
Maybe I should have just killed.
Maybe you should have just left town. That might have been a little better.
And they built a crash helmet into that fisherman's hat because he gets slammed in the head with a giant metal door and walks away from it like, what are you going to do? Some murders are successful, some aren't. Like he gets into a fight with Tariq Withers, who has muscles on muscles.
Like his next movie must have been him.
Yes. He's listen, I think for a lot of his career, he's been hired because the dude is stacked. And it makes sense that he would be in a football movie. And I think for half of that film, he's without a shirt on. And if I were him, I wouldn't wear a shirt either. I would claim to be allergic. Like milk is bad for my tummy, but it's shirts because he's that fucking good looking. But he can barely get a lick in here. And when he does, it turns out Freddie Prinze is made of adamantium. Or Sarah Pigeon, who's too pale, by the way, to be innocent. No one that pale isn't guilty of something, according to recent slasher movies. So, of course, she's the other half of this stabbing duo.
This serial killer apprenticeship program.
Yes. If you hear growling in the background, that is my dog unhappy that I'm continuing to yell. Well, guess what? You're going to hear a lot of it because when we were just texting, we knew we were going to be, every single text we had to one another included an exclamation mark. Every single one. All of our communication looks like it's Donald Trump on Truth Social.
So, including the capitalized all caps words.
Okay. Just the fact that in the first one, there's one clear message. The killer knew what you did last summer. And here, we're just throwing all that out the window. You can't erase the past. You know what says that? I know what you did last summer. It causes other people to know you're guilty of something, which is kind of the fucking point of stabbing the shit out of people. And this movie's like, I don't know, we're gonna vary it up here. We're gonna paint all sorts of shit on the wall with blood.
Yep.
By the way, gentrification, I was almost not mad at.
At 1-800-Flowers.com, we know that connections are at the heart of being human. Whether celebrating life's joys or comforting during tough times, 1-800-Flowers helps you express what words can't. For nearly 50 years, millions have trusted 1-800-Flowers to deliver thoughtful gifts that help create lasting bonds. Because it's more than just a gift. It's your way of showing you care. Visit 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO and connect today. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This message is brought to you by Talkspace. November is Men's Health Awareness Month, so Talkspace wants guys to know that being prepared for life's biggest challenges and opportunities means prioritizing mental health, too. Talkspace can help you go beyond fine-tuned workouts, supplements, and productivity hacks. Talkspace can help you fine-tune your inner life so you can succeed in being the best version of yourself in any situation. And with Talkspace, you can get therapy from anywhere and on your time. You can even text your therapist between sessions. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace takes most insurance, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Men's Health Awareness Month is the perfect time to reach out to Talkspace. Now, get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com and save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com. That's Talkspace.com, promo code SPACE80.
Well, there was one scene that I liked.
Okay.
Even if it was very fan servicey. Mm-hmm. I did like the dream sequence in which Sarah Michelle Gellar shows up.
Sure.
You know, although again, you've got this character Danica basically begging and pleading, like, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean for it to happen. What did you not mean to happen? That
you didn't drive to the police station right then and there. You know what everyone else could have done after walking away from that situation? Drive themselves in their own cars that they brought to that facility.
Or they could have just made an anonymous call.
Right.
And said, hey, we just saw someone go off the side of Dead Man's Curve.
Yeah.
That is it. That's like, what I think they're really going to find Teddy's footprints in the middle of the road.
Yeah, right. They're going to CSI his fucking size 14 Nikes to this crime. Probably not. And the crazy thing is like, they're fucking innocent. Oh my God. And they try to make that scene where the hand busting out through the window seem like, you did this to me. And it's kind of like, yeah, but no one forced you to race like it's Tokyo Drift around Dead Man's fucking Curve, my guy. I also don't believe they can fully commit to making Billy Campbell, who has been playing rich assholes for as long as he's been in film, commit to him being a rich asshole in this. They just try to Mayor Jaws him, and it doesn't fucking work. Is he supposed to be the mayor, or just like the richest man in town? He's the richest man in town. He's the de facto power because he's the one who's increased all of the prices of the homes and all of the businesses. Now they're not a podunk fisherman's town where they have rich houses on the hill. Now all the houses have been gentrificated, and it's only down by the docks that are called. Oh my God, Cape Fear Docks, Gina. Cape Fear Docks. I've seen movies too. I mean, the fact that we don't get a fucking microfish scene in this movie, I think it should be subject to capital punishment. Well, this has got one of my favorite things in we either do or don't know about this mass murder that happened in our town. Mm-hmm. And, so we either need to provide expository dialogue or we don't. Yeah. Like it changes from scene to scene how much they know. Yes. They are stupid in some scenes, like they've had a head injury, and in others, like everything clears up a little bit. And it really depends on the scene, what they have to be in that particular. In a lot of movies that we have covered, they're not consistent. And I genuinely like a fair amount of these performers. And they're not really served well by the inconsistent scripting of their character. Whereas, like, I do fucking like Danica. I'm sorry. Madeline Klein is too fucking charming in that role. And I like Chase Wonders. But boy, Ava is just given a real rough go ahead. And this movie is really tough to get on her side when the movie decides to kink shame her out of nowhere. Well, they don't, again, she's, kind of a Gen Z stereotype, she's, she likes girls too. Yeah. But I can't tell if her, being bisexual is a product of her trauma because but like, cause she could just as easily been bisexual when her and Milo were together, because why wouldn't she have been? She's like picking up strangers as she meets on the plane, and just taking them home with her, and she's a little kinky, but again, nobody associated with me knows how to write trauma. Yeah, but also no one in this movie has the sort of temerity to recognize the most horrific idea that is put forth at any point in this film, or I dare say even the franchise. And that is having sex in an airport bathroom. Airport bathroom stall. These people have pooped from all over the world, and that's where you're going to fuck. That is where I'm going to kink shame. I can't even imagine, like, just even thinking about sex when I get off a plane. I'm usually like, I got to go to the bathroom and use it like a bathroom. Yeah, at best, I'm going to take a horse bath with a Midori, the way Peter Vincent did in last week's movie. I'm not going to be groping the person sitting next to me on the plane. My apologies for using the term whore's bath, but that is what is colloquial known for, which is when you towel off with a rag.
You wash off your pits and your bits.
Yes. And, a little while ago, we were selling things for Mando, and one of the things they would get in that packet, and I got it, and God knows I used it when I got on and off a plane, were those wipes, because I don't feel great coming off a plane. I feel like I've been stewing in my own sweat. But I don't feel like after that so confident that I'd fuck a woman in a bathroom stall in an airport, Gina.
No.
Oh, God, just fucking terrible.
But again, it is a lazy indicator that, she's troubled. It's like when you have an HBO prestige drama and you have the male character having doggy style sex with someone. It's like, he's got problems.
Right, yes.
He's got
the character indicator of reverse cowgirl.
He's got some darkness inside of him.
And yet there are touches where I don't know, is this an intentional shout out? Like when Tyler, the podcast gal, is murdered inside what used to be a department store, but is now a brunch spot. And she takes down the slicker mask and she sees who's behind it. And she says, "You?" And I'm like, is that a reference to things like happy birthday to me? Or is it just they don't know that's an actual reference to anything and said, well, she has to recognize who's there? No, she doesn't. She doesn't have to. She probably shouldn't. I didn't.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, would she recognize what's his face? Freddie.
She would recognize Ray because she's seen photos of Ray from 1997.
Right, but wasn't it
in the fucking newspaper?
Wasn't Ray the attacker in there because he had the cut on his chest?
It's confusing. Both her and both him and Stevie can be involved in that particular attack. I'm not really sure. He has variable strength. She apparently can choke someone out very close to somebody. She literally snaps a dude's neck by just pulling on a rope that is mere inches from his neck. And I'm here to tell you, that is very hard to fucking do. And I'm not coming to this movie for realism, but you don't need to do this. You're not court mandated to make this kill impossible for me to believe in.
My favorite part about that whole thing, though, with the podcaster kill is so Ava is there.
Yeah.
Ava is also attacked.
Yeah.
Ava escapes.
Yes.
You have this cop, this chief of police character say, well, we looked into this and it was a suicide.
Suicide. She's been stabbed. It wholeheartedly implies that Tyler is stabbed during that attack.
But they completely discount the fact that there was another person there.
Right. Well, she can't be believed.
Who saw who was attacked by this person that went on to attack and kill Tyler. And he's like, well, she went off her meds, so she hung herself from the building. Yeah. And it's like, what even in the fuck is this?
Are streamers that strong that they can hold a body off of a second-story roof? That is a plastic streamer that would just tear in half. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
But again, this going out of their way to badly cover up crimes.
Yes. By
essentially just discounting a still living witness's statement. And she's not going to the police force. She's not going to the outside police or anything for some reason.
Right.
Even though it becomes apparent that there's a pretty blatant and clumsy cover up happening here. She's not going to, I don't know, the state police maybe, right. or maybe the FBI. the pre-Cash Patel FBI who might have
state police of some ilk
who might have been able to help. No, she just I guess there's nothing I could do about it. They decide that the best tactic is to lock her and Danica in the police station until when? How long are you going to leave? When
they find other bodies and they just let them out.
Right, but that's the only reason they let them out.
Yes. But otherwise, they can't possibly get out of this room that's covered in fucking windows.
But what was the end game there in that?
This movie doesn't have end game involved. I don't think people are thinking that far ahead. Or if they are, they're thinking about different things that don't matter in that particular moment. It's just full of weird inconsistencies that I think only come when you're trying to rejigger what the plot is in editing. I just refuse to believe that the script that they started filming with resembles the end product to this degree. It just feels like they were constantly pivoting in the moment to something else. And this was the best product they could get to in editing.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah. I just like the moment where like Julie makes this whole thing about trauma. I'm like, oh my God, it's another movie. We're talking about fucking trauma instead of you can't trust the fucking police. That is a ripe conversation I'm willing to have at all times. But this whole how do you overcome your trauma thing is kind of like, that is just not what this franchise is necessarily built on.
No, this does not need to be trying anything deep.
No. And it's hard to say that they tried. I will say this. Perhaps one of my more angry moments in this movie is when we're introduced to a character who runs an impound lot. And somehow this character is not played by kill veteran Galen Howard. Because you mean to tell me that someone is out there stealing Galen Howard's fucking roles? Like someone said, get me a Galen Howard type, and Galen was not given this fucking role. They never brought him into audition. They just said, we're going to make you look Galen Howard adjacent. Just get Galen Howard. He is available. He shouldn't be. He should be working all the time. He should be in this shitty movie. But at least he would have gotten the paycheck from this shitty movie. He deserves better, but he also deserves this. I'm not sure what my point is, but it's insane that someone else is running around half-heartedly making themselves look like Galen Howard when Galen Howard does that of his own volition. He's just Galen Howard. And someone else is like, how do we Galen Howard up this other person? You don't have to. He's a phone call away. Hire Galen Howard is really what it comes down to. If you got a Galen Howard type, just dial him up. His agent is available through email and text. There is another issue that I have with this, and that is this movie is playing at the idea that Southport has become a place for the uber rich, a playground. And yet every place of work that you go to has at least one room that looks like a fish kitchen from the first movie.
Yeah, I don't get like, we only want to appeal to like a high quality tourist who would never do such things as go on a death tour.
Right. Come on. And also, like, every town that's full of rich people that you ever see always has an underbelly of fucking crime. That's half of what my son watches. The other half is anime with me. But when with Becky, he is watching this town has the haves and the have-nots, and the have-nots fix up race cars or they find sunken treasure. They're doing something. And it all has a criminal underbelly to it. It's always talked about. So give me a fucking break that you can't talk about 30-year-old goddamn murderers. That's just fucking ridiculous. And then the movie just allows kink-shaming to enter the chat. And then we're introduced to Pastor Judah, who is the most evil pastor to ever exist, according to this film. There's just no fucking way anyone's going to his congregation because they love the vibe, because the vibe is murder. Also, he has a fucking murder diary, Gina. He's got a murder diary in his office that someone finds very quickly. So is that Stevie's murder diary that he happens to have? Or does he happen to have his own murder diary?
He's just like, they don't understand, they don't understand kink. They don't understand red herrings.
Yeah.
They don't understand trauma. They don't understand how an accident works.
No. They also don't understand what the docks are like, because half the time it's a fish kitchen. And then Tyler apparently lives at the docks down by Sawsville, USA, Canada, because there's just giant iron gates you have to deal with. Everything's fucking rusty. It is by water, so I get that it's rusty, but what is the point of the gates that slam open and closed and don't, like, now these people are hackers. Now they can hack fucking gates. Choose a thing and be that thing. But this movie is, particularly with Tyler's death, is very much trying to be a Scream movie in terms of its prolonged stabbing.
It's prolonged stabbing. He's dragging himself across the lawn. He's calling out for his mother. And, somebody pointed out that, the first half of the movie seemed a little goofy and then it just takes this like dark turn that again, just feels unearned.
Yeah. It's a real weirdness of tone for it to have that many laugh lines and a prolonged guy crawling on his front lawn constantly being stabbed. You kind of have to choose one or the other. I'm not saying that you can't have brutal kills. The first film, while not particularly bloody, has a lot of quick kills, right? It's a slash across the throat. It's I grab this guy under the chin sort of thing and I hack them in the back. They are brutal and quick. I'm not saying you have to do that exactly, but it is weird to watch that movie and then decide, okay, we're going to have this guy just be stabbed a whole bunch. And because he's got muscles on muscles, he's going to survive for far too long. It's a tonal issue that I'm not really sure the movie earns. It's
a tonal issue and it doesn't earn it because I think his death is supposed to be satisfying to the audience, but it's like, you've given me nothing to feel good about this character being killed.
Right.
I don't dislike him. He didn't do anything. He didn't report an accident.
So there's something there, but also it has completely disrupted his life. He does seem to be the one, he's drowning himself in, alcohol and cocaine, but it hasn't stopped his gym routine. So there's that. But it didn't contribute to, he didn't maintain his relationship.
This is not like you being caught with child pornography or something. Yeah. He was present in an accident and didn't call the police.
Yes.
That's it. These days that wouldn't even ruin your political campaign.
Yes.
So I don't know. This prolonged death, the audience is to be like, yeah, he's finally getting his. And it's like, for what?
Yeah. For what? It just doesn't quite make any sense. And it's hard to square that circle with the scene in which Helen comes back in a dream sequence because someone got their bell rung. I like that too. I think obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar can do that in her fucking sleep. And it's kind of delightful to find a way to resurrect her character without undoing it. Because when I first saw that spoiled online, my fear was that she was actually alive and involved in the killings. Because why would anyone else show this portion of the movie and spoil it for others? But that's just the internet's problem.
Oh, yeah.
They make up for it by making Ray, the guy they constantly accuse of stabbing people, the stabber this time for reasons.
Yep.
This time they won't forget. They didn't forget. A person showed up in town with a person you knew on a fucking t-shirt.
Why would you want that to, like, if I was the survivor of a series of murders that killed most of my friends, I would not want people to be constantly bringing it up.
Yes.
I would be the first to try to put it behind me.
Is that going to help his bar business?
You know, for starters, by moving out of the fucking town where it happened.
Right. You've got a boat. Move to a fucking different dock.
But he's like, no, we need to be talking about this all the time. Do we?
And then he goes, I can't remember which character he states this to, but he says, you have to leave or you'll get stuck here. Buddy, you're not even fucking stuck here. You have a business, but you could sell it like in a heartbeat to some rich asshole and just motor your ass down to Georgia or up to Maryland, however it fucking works. I know there are multiple states that border the Atlantic Ocean that the movie is not allowed to show.
Whenever I need to send roses that are guaranteed to make someone's day, the only place I trust is 1-800-Flowers.com. With 1-800-Flowers, my friends and family always receive stunning, high-quality bouquets that they absolutely love. Right now, when you buy a dozen multicolored roses, 1-800-Flowers will double your bouquet to 2 dozen roses. To claim this special double roses offer, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/WWO.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This message is brought to you by Talkspace. November is Men's Health Awareness Month, so Talkspace wants guys to know that being prepared for life's biggest challenges and opportunities means prioritizing mental health, too. Talkspace can help you go beyond fine-tuned workouts, supplements, and productivity hacks. Talkspace can help you fine-tune your inner life so you can succeed in being the best version of yourself in any situation. And with Talkspace, you can get therapy from anywhere and on your time. You can even text your therapist between sessions. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace takes most insurance, and most insured members have a $0 copay. Men's Health Awareness Month is the perfect time to reach out to Talkspace. Now, get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com and save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com. That's Talkspace.com, promo code SPACE80.
I just didn't think that at the end of it, they're like, I hate the 4th of July in the same way that the Carpenters' Christine, they say, I hate rock and roll. And you're like, I don't think this is a 4th of July issue.
No.
I have plenty of problems with the 4th of July, but the fact that every 30 years some people die in Southport, North Carolina,
maybe the killer is dressed like Uncle Sam or something, fine, but
yeah, at some point, their whole rigmarole, and they end up killing off the Stevie character because she's too pale to live in this world. And then they get back and they're like, oh, oopsie, I think actually she wasn't working alone and it's Ray. And of course, Julie shows up and harpoons him in the back. And then they're like, this was crazy, right? And then we're off to the hospital and Danica and Ava are recovering from their wounds. And they reveal at some point in their conversation, the idea that do they say that Stevie is still alive or that Tyler is still alive?
I'm not sure. Let me see. Let me go to the Wikipedia. I'm already starting. This movie's already starting to fade from I will
memory. Say one thing we mentioned while you're looking that up. we did talk about that this movie does sort of treat the previous characters that were in a relationship that are died, that they are somehow buried next to one another. And
yes.
we resurrected early in this podcast's oeuvre. We began to look at the Friday the 13th wiki. And at the time, this has since been corrected. At the time, there were multiple entries that proposed that characters who were killed in presence of one another were often buried next to one another. And you're like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
not just buried next to each other, some in the same casket.
Right. Some of the same casket or on top of one another. And like, that's not a thing that happens. That's not. And
there's a scene where they go to the cemetery, and Max, who was Johnny Galecki's character in the first one, who's like kind of creepy, for some reason, like he's buried next to Helen and her sister.
Right. Like what?
Like, I'm sorry, was he their cousin or something? Why is he in this family plot?
Why is he in this family plot? It makes zero sense whatsoever. It's just like they had to go in the order these people died. That cemetery is operating under kill by kill rules.
There's like also like, oh well, we have to wait because look, somebody just put fresh flowers on Sam Cooper's grave. Well, yeah, he just died a year ago.
Right, it's the anniversary of his fucking death. It's not that big of a clue.
Was it weird that someone would put fresh flowers on his grave on the anniversary of his death? But they're like, but we're like, well, we gotta wait because whoever puts the flowers there must be the killer.
It's like he lived this sort of Spartan life where he was like Robin. He was like Dick Grayson after his parents died, where he's alone in the world.
I mean, he might have had a friend.
He might have had a fucking friend. It just seems like someone might be mourning his death. I don't know. Gina, I just did not fucking care for it. So does the Wikipedia clear up whether or not they propose the idea that Stevie is still alive?
It is Stevie who is still alive at the end. Which means this bullshit's probably going to get a sequel.
No, it's not, because it didn't make nearly enough money.
I mean, when does that ever stop anybody?
I don't know. They have so many swings at the bat here. The sequel lost money. The third one was so poor they went direct to video. The TV series got canceled after one season, and this movie came out in the middle of one of the hottest streaks horror has ever had, and did middling at best.
Yeah, which is particularly unfortunate considering how, as you say, horror has been on a roll, and like not just this year, in the past couple years.
Yes. So I get why it was greenlit. Now I'll grant you, the budget reportedly is sub 20 million, and it made 65. So it wasn't. No one lost money, but there's no way they made nearly enough money. And that is a 3-time multiplier. So, okay, maybe. But if you were one of the actresses who came off well here, why would you sign up to do this again? Why? I mean, they probably signed contracts that would force them to do it. I might have answered my own question, but
I mean, that's the only reasonable explanation.
If I were Madeline Klein or Chase Wonders, I don't know why I would get back in this particular game, because neither of them are served well beyond their own efforts.
Yeah, maybe they can do like a Lieb Schreiber in Scream 3 just be killed off in the first 5 minutes.
Right. Apparently, Madeline Klein is in Outer Banks, and that's one of the other movies that my son is watching with Becky. So, there you go. She was also in Stranger Things. I think she was the cheerleader.
I think in spite of how awful this character is meant to be, she really rises above the material.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think anyone walking away from the movie would go, this is like an acting problem. But I also don't want to shit on the filmmaker. Like, you don't get a ton of slasher movies with decent, in 18 million for a slasher movie. It's a pretty decent budget And I don't want her to cease to make movies. This is why I think I want to say this feels like interference. Like there's just too many fucking cooks and they all had a say and all of their says end up on screen. And it just doesn't make for a particularly enjoyable movie watching experience. And we're not alone here.
Yeah, no. I can't figure. I mean, for me, the responsibility for why this doesn't work lays at the feet of the scriptwriter, because they are, there's a lot of really forced wisecracking and joke 'em ups in the dialogue, and it really does not work. You have this scene of where after Danica's fiance is horrifically murdered, and she discovers his body, and they're at the police station. She's crying, and she has this exchange with Ava where she's like, "Well, does this make me a widow now?" "Well, yeah, but a hot widow." And it's like, okay, her boyfriend was just murdered.
Yeah,
like she found his body. Why are you trying to shoehorn, a joke in this scene?
I think the movie tries to shoehorn a lot of jokes over the course of it, and some work and some don't, primarily based on the performers being charming, but tonally you can't pair that with, Tariq with getting stabbed a billion times and us. Supposedly, am I supposed to be delighted by it? I don't get it. I don't get it, Gina. It just didn't fucking work for me.
No.
You know what does work for me? Choosing Your Own Deathventure, and that's where we decide of the many deaths, which is weird for an I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. The many, many deaths portrayed on screen. If you were forced to die in one of those ways, which one it would be and why? The first way is vehicular manslaughter, question mark?
I mean, it's
an
not
accident. It's an auto accident.
Yeah, he drives through a guardrail and goes over the side of a cliff.
Goes over the side. We don't see the end results of it because of course, why would you? We don't know if he's alive and actually causing any of the spoiler alert. He isn't. Then we've got spear to stomach and shoulder, and then under the chin. We have stabbed, but mostly hung from a streamer. Again, are they making streamers that can hang a full-grown woman? I don't want to really know the answer to this, but it is a question I'm going to ask. Throat slashed in gross non-fish kitchen. Neck snapped by rope at an angle that is so entirely impossible that it took me out of the film for at least 15 minutes. I had to pause and walk away. Just can't do it. And then multiple stab wounds in the slowest motion chase of all time. Gina, this movie doesn't even have a fucking chase scene in it.
Nope.
That to me tells me you don't care for the original, or you didn't get it, or you don't know what people liked about it. Because if you ask most people what they like about it, it is Sarah Michelle Gellar running for her life for a 10+ minute chase scene. It is the highlight of the film in every way, shape, or form. And do not try to pay some homage to that, or not even that. Just try to imbue it with a chase scene with these characters, with one of them. It just made me so fucking angry. Hook through the neck. Stabbed with hook, eyes gouged out. Shot on a boat, but then you live, so that one's out. And then speared through the back. What's that?
Well, I don't like being strung up and put on display. I don't want people looking at me. So fuck it, spear in the back, I guess.
I think maybe my neck snapped by a rope at an angle that's so impossible, just because I don't believe it's possible to happen.
After you've had a think in your car about whether or not you should choke the hot chick a little bit during sex.
I mean, this you keep saying it like it's not something I would do. Of course, this is something I would do. I'm a fucking idiot. Folks, you can find us on the socials. Join us on Patreon for bonus episodes, where we bring you 3 bonus episodes every single month that I think will delight any listener of the show, come support us there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You don't have to listen there, but subscribe to us. You got a YouTube account? Just hit the like button and subscribe and follow. Talk back to us on Spotify. You can talk to us on Discord now. The link will be in the show notes for our Discord. I don't know what the fuck those are. I'm very new to Discord, but I asked everyone in the Facebook group if Facebook groups are going away, where we should go, and they all said Discord. Everyone said Discord, so we've got a fucking Discord now. Instagram, Threads, the whole schmear. Go to our t-shirt shop where we have, a t-shirt that everyone demanded, My Vital Juices in Nosferatu font. We have them. You need to start wearing them to places. And then when people are confused, point to the bottom of it that says Kill by Kill Podcast. So they will know where to go after the fact. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and pop culture at my newsletter, GinaWatchesThings.ghost.io, and I am on most social medias under Gina Does Things.
Do it today, people. Check it out. Don't worry, folks. The bounty count will continue. For myself and for Gina, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
To realize the future America needs, we understand what's needed from us. To face each threat head on. We've earned our place in the fight for our nation's future. We are Marines. We were made for this.
Pacifico is a Mexican lager brewed to be discovered. It's like fresh tracks on a powder day. Like that uncharted trail a stone's throw away. Like the perfect wave on a sunny day. Pacifico. Find your own way. 21 plus. Drink responsibly. Imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.